Old Man Winter has once again unleashed his fury. We ride along with Jasper Street Crews, plus Cody Cummings and Kitty Lawson talk about the promise tonight on Inform. All of that and much more is up next here on the 18 WJTS News. Hello, I'm Bradford Raths. Well, yesterday afternoon and evening turned out to once again be rough weather-wise as yet another winter storm moved through the area. The anticipated changeover from rain to sleet to snow was completed yesterday afternoon after rainy conditions were the norm from Tuesday all the way through yesterday morning. The snow was heavy at times yesterday and continued falling before wrapping up overnight. Now, snow totals were wide-ranging all across the area, but most people did report between 6 and 9 inches of snow. 7 inches was what we measured outside of the WJTS studios. Yesterday's storm was also difficult for street crews everywhere. Jasper Street Department Commissioner Ramey Eckerly says crews were sent out starting at 10:30 yesterday morning. Crews worked roughly 6-hour shifts in getting the roads cleared during the day and evening yesterday. Tim Berger was one of those hard at work clearing the snow. Berger, who has been driving snowplow trucks for more than 30 years, says preparations for this storm began right after the last one ended.
After every snowstorm, we try to get these trucks. We go through the plows and the spreaders, make sure everything's all lubed up, greased up, ready to go, and rubbers are flipped on them so they're ready to plow all the snow off the streets and stuff. Pretty much it. Clean everything up, put a little neutral wash on them so they don't rust up, and get ready for the next storm.
Berger was among the second wave of crews that started working around 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon and worked until 10 o'clock last night. Berger says though the job can be tedious, it's a necessary one.
Well, it's actually trying to get the public where they need to be, you know. It's you take a lot of pride in what you do and you try to get everybody to get around safely. Pretty much the whole street department does that, and that's their goal.
The weather was also problematic for law enforcement as Du Bois County Sheriff's deputies and Indiana State Police worked a number of slide-offs yesterday afternoon and evening. In all, State Police responded to more than 550 calls last night across southern Indiana. 32 were injury crashes and there was 1 fatality in central Indiana's Hendricks County. Now, the snow gave way to bitterly cold temperatures throughout the day today, continuing into tonight. Temperatures will rebound again tomorrow, and then they'll reach into the 50s and nearly 60 degrees by the middle part of next week. We'll talk about that coming up in just a few minutes. Lincoln Amphitheater will not be hosting its season opening performances this year. The Evansville Courier says that A Lincoln, A Pioneer's Tale has been canceled for the 2015 season. Reports say the cancellation is due to ongoing negotiations between the state of Indiana and the new management company for Lincoln Amphitheater. Reports also say funding for the theater this year is undetermined. The budget for it is not scheduled to be approved until July 1st. Indiana State Parks Director Dan Bortner remains hopeful that negotiations will get done later this year, and plenty of time for A Lincoln, A Pioneer's Tale to return to the shows in 2016. Now, Lincoln Amphitheater changed its ownership structure last year. The previous contract for the shows was with the Lincoln Boyhood Drama Association, but that contract was not renewed. Jasper Engines and Transmissions has announced the appointment of Brian Schnaus as Regional Operations Manager for the company's branch auditing department. Schnaus has been a member of the Jasper Engines team since 2011. As Regional Operations Manager, Schnaus will oversee the operations at 21 of Jasper Engines' 43 branch offices from coast to coast. Schnaus will work with the staff at these branches to ensure smooth operations and to build strong relationships with customers and associates. Established back in 2002 and known within the company as the A-Team, the branch auditing department is responsible for establishing and maintaining policies and procedures for all 43 of Jasper Engines' branch locations. Along with establishing standard operating procedures, the A-Team audits the branches twice a year. The department also serves as a liaison between the branches and manufacturing, addressing concerns and suggestions for improvements that come from the branches. The Jasper Chamber of Commerce has set up a second legislative breakfast for this year. The breakfast will be held next Saturday, March 14th from 8:30 till 10 a.m., and it will once again take place in the C-Tim Building Theater on the Vincennes University Jasper campus. State Senators Aaron Houchin and Mark Messmer, along with State Representatives Lloyd Arnold and Mike Braun, are all set to take part in the breakfast. All four were in attendance at the last legislative breakfast, which took place back in January. Now, topics at the State House that will likely be discussed during this legislative breakfast are roads, education, and the state budget. Lawmakers are continuing to work on that budget while debating more funding for roads and for rural school districts. The Indiana Senate is set to take its turn at working on the state's next two-year budget. The state spending plan, approved last week by House Republicans, is scheduled to be presented to the Senate Appropriations Committee today. That happened earlier today, of course. That $31 billion House proposal includes 2.3% increases in school funding in each of the 2 years. But the proposed shifting of tens of millions of dollars to growing suburban districts would lead to cuts for many urban and rural districts with shrinking enrollments. The Senate committee has several budget hearings scheduled over the coming month before an expected vote on its version of the budget coming up in early April. Now, the House and Senate must agree on a spending plan before the legislature's adjournment deadline coming up in late April. And finally tonight, college is widely seen as a wise investment. That's especially true in the Hoosier State, according to a new survey. Payscale.com has ranked 4 Indiana colleges in its top 60 for return on investment. The 4 are Rose-Hulman Institute of Technology, Wabash College, Notre Dame, and Purdue. All 4 are also in the top 100 of more than 1,200 colleges that Payscale ranked. Now, the report says that college is ultimately an investment of time and money, and these are among the institutions that provide the best long-term returns on investment for students and their parents who may be challenged financially. The study calculates a 20-year return on investment by salaries during that period compared to what they would earn as mere high school graduates. With student loan debt now topping $1 trillion, Payscale says analyzing the costs and returns of a college education remains advisable. All right, coming up next, warmth is finally making its way into your local forecast, and later on, Bill Potter learns more about the promise in tonight's edition of Inform. We're back after this.